Thank you. Hey, Rick, how you doing? You're muted. Sorry, I hope what you're saying isn't important because I can't hear you.
Let's try it now.
There you go. That sounds loud and clear.
So I can click it. So I tried to join the meeting from my calendar,
Okay.
and it told me that you had another meeting in progress.
Oh
and
my.
I couldn't get in. Oh, there's Anita. So then I looked at the most recent agenda, and there was a different meeting number and passcode, and I used those and got in.
I hope. I thought I had the one. You know, they give you a list of them, and I usually just grab it out of there. It says, you know, copy the invite.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple. We'll see. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Steve said something's wrong with the link. Let's see.
Yeah.
I forget how you can invite somebody, like if I send them a link or something. Okay, invite link, copy link. And I'm gonna just have a response to his email real quick.
Hi, Anita.
Hi. I tried to log in earlier and I got a message that the meeting was unavailable. Didn't
Yeah.
say another in progress. It said unavailable.
Bill just sent it too, so I'm sending him the link. I apologize. Technology is
Hey, Steve, I'm here. I'm just finishing up something else.
Hey,
Good
Charlie.
to see. Glad Yasser reached out to you. So I see his like and stuff is up here. Great. Thank you.
right. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Oh, good. That worked for Steve, it looks like. My apologies.
Did you send out a second copy of the agenda, a different agenda?
I just sent out a last minute one because, as I kind of alluded to last time, I was really busy today and I didn't have time to actually fill in stuff when I sent out the first email. So I sent out one about 20 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago with actual stuff in it. So if people want to follow along, I'll certainly, you know, send this out again. It was just if somebody wanted to follow along.
Okay, I just checked my email and I don't have it, but that's happened before.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, it was like 6:40, I think is when I sent it. Somewhere right around there. But I'll send this out after, you know, tomorrow morning probably. So we'll have it. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the confusion. When I don't have Martin around, technology tends to kick my butt. I don't know.
Right.
My tech guy.
Uh-huh.
So I'm hoping you can
sending me the link. Now I got in. So
oh, good. I better go back to my email real quick to see if anybody. Actually, I can get it on my phone, can I?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, nobody else has sent something, so that's good. Can you guys see my screen? Is it big enough? To read?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's really big here, but I don't know what it looks like. It's a 32-inch ultra high def, you know, awesome thing, but I don't know what it looks like.
Well, it's 2 pages on
our.
our end. So if you want to make it
Yeah.
1 page and then we go down, then we can see the type.
Is it better with one? Okay.
Yep, do
I-
that.
I
And then we'll
just
just
wasn't
scroll
sure
down.
because-
And if you want me to speak to when we get to Jasper, let me
Okay.
know and I'm
Yeah, that'd be
happy to
great.
tell you what, all happy to
Is
tell
that
you.
a little better?
Yeah,
Yep,
that's better.
There you
Oh,
go.
great.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'm just gonna wait another minute or two. Yeah, I'm sure maybe other issues with the link. Uh, So everybody know today is National Cheesesteak Day. I guess most of you guys have an actual chance of getting an actually good cheesesteak, where in Florida, that's not a thing. Maybe South Carolina, I don't know.
We make our own.
actually, there is a place we discovered in a little bit south of Sarasota in Osprey. We were, all of a sudden we saw this sign that said Philly cheesesteaks, and it turned out to be, you know, like a corner steak and hoagie
Oh,
shop
nice.
run by people from South Philly, and it was
Awesome.
only the bread that wasn't quite
Right. Yeah, that's the hard part here for sure. And usually the words Philly cheesesteak, if they have Philly in front of it, that's my motto. It's if it says Philly, it's not.
right.
Because nobody in Philly says Philly cheesesteak. So anyway,
They say with or without.
yeah, sure.
With-
You know, and I never heard of Cheese Whiz. I was 19 when I left Philadelphia, and I never knew anybody that ever put Cheese Whiz on a cheesesteak up until that time. I didn't hear about that till it started getting on TV and everything, and maybe they used it for cheese fries. I don't know, but I was in the Northeast. We didn't use that when I was there. So
I
What
had
do you
a,
do with it?
a-
Is there other cheese already on the cheesesteak?
no, it's just some people prefer melted Cheese Whiz
On the
as
steak?
opposed to.
No, that's only if you go to Geno's or Pat's,
Yeah.
you know, the ones that they're on TV all the time, which actually have the worst cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
You want to go to Jim's on South Street or D'Alessandro's advertises a lot.
That's very good. Yeah, I like John's roast pork also. Roast pork is my favorite anyway, not cheesesteak. So broccoli rabe, little sharp provolone, I'm good to go.
Yeah, nothing like a, you know, roast pork and broccoli rabe and provolone sandwich. That's the,
That's the best.
About just the broccoli and the provolone.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully nobody else has any difficulty. I'm not sure who else was going to be able to make it, but I don't have any old business, or if we can improve the minutes from last time. I don't think anybody had anything to add to that. Anything there? And I apologize again. Like I said, I was really swamped today, and I just didn't have time. I had this list. I didn't have time to put it all together when I sent out the email, which I, you know, as it turns out, I messed up the link on. But I do have quite a couple things to go over. Most of these are not really action items. It's just more like notice type things. And I will, you know, send this out to everyone, and also the membership. But I had previously mentioned, I guess it kind of counts as old business, but we never really got into it in any kind of detail. But trying to possibly have a society meeting at NAPEX. I don't know that we can have anything official or, you know, a big deal type thing, but they did offer us meeting space. If anybody else plans to go to NAPEX, that would be great. And if not, maybe I could get a society table and, you know, tell people about the society at least, and maybe, you know, join up with some other societies or something like that. But if people do plan to go to NAPEX, it might be a good opportunity.
Well, you know, all we would need is a quorum of directors.
And you know, we haven't had technically an annual meeting in a long time now. So I don't know that we would necessarily want to, you know, do business or whatever, or vote on things or things like that. But it would be nice to show people that we're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, if you guys will just keep that in
Sure.
mind, we don't need to make a commitment right away, but they said that they would give us space.
I'd like to apologize for missing the last couple of meetings. We were down in Florida. We missed two of them while we were in Florida, and we just got back a couple of weeks ago. And then we've been very busy. Today we signed a contract. We're selling the house and moving to Narberth, and So there's been a lot on the plate but I hope to make them pretty regularly from now on. So
So have you figured out you need to actually get 2 apartments, one for the stamps and one for you?
yeah. Well, actually, I'm selling most of the stamps. I'm keeping Pennsylvania, but I'm selling almost all of the Portugal. And I've already sold a sizable fraction of it. The really good stuff is, I've contracted to sell that. So,
But I'll look forward to hearing about that auction. I'm sure people will be very
Hey,
interested.
Steve, the NAPEX meeting is June 3 to 5.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
I got that mixed up. I will change that right now. So June 3rd to the 5th.
Yeah, otherwise it was a Tuesday to a Thursday and I was scratching my head.
That wouldn't make sense. There we go. How's that for a quick fix?
There you go.
So the even bigger thing, I'm on the Boston 2026 committee. It's funny, I offered to help with the volunteer situation. Mark Butterline did that in New York, and he didn't actually start until September of 2015. So he was like saying he was scrambling and all that. So me, I'm trying to plan. Yeah, 4 years doesn't seem like that long to me when you're talking about almost 500 volunteers getting together, but they didn't seem to have the same sense of urgency as I did in a meeting last night. But anyway, I thought about and I couldn't remember what group it was, but there's one group, one society, Philadelphia Society, that gave a $50,000 donation. So that was very sizable, and they're of course going to name something after them. I don't know what, but it just made me think about if we were possibly going to consider something like that for Boston 2026. Obviously, we have time on it. I don't know if we want to do a little bit each year or do one donation now, which some other societies are doing, so they don't have to worry about it down the road. But any thoughts on that? You guys, I never participated in international stuff like New York or Washington, any of those, and I'm sure some of you have. If possibly that's something we would consider.
Well, speaking, from experience in the past, most of the shows have had a sort of a guarantee fund, which they promise to return your contribution at the end, but then at the end they always say, well, wouldn't you like to donate it to the next international show, which most people do.
Okay.
And the other thing that we can do is we can buy, we can donate a special award, which won't be for Pennsylvania postal history, but the special awards are at the, they're at the jury awards them. And usually there's a committee that decides the special awards. And there's a lot of publicity you get by having that in the, there's a picture of the award that you choose in the show program, and it's very good publicity. I think they asked for something with a value of $250. That was from the New York show. I know that.
Well, one of the considerations that they had in one way that things might be different this time is the expectation for the funds, right? So they were expecting, I think in New York, there were maybe, I think the mention was like 145, 150 dealers. Right now, about 50 have expressed interest. And somebody, and I don't know who it was, actually did, I guess they do some forecasting type work. And they're saying that new dealers are not replacing old dealers at a fast enough rate due to attrition, age, retirement, whatever it might be. And they said that they think that there might only be about 105 dealers. So some of those revenues may be down from that, and they may need more money to operate. They didn't put it that way, but that's just me interpolating there. And they did also consider possibly opening to some ephemera dealers or postcards, booksellers that specialize in philately. They want to still keep it a stamp show, obviously. They don't want coins to take over, but they potentially may approach the ANA about like they did at GAS. It happened at GAS in Chicago last year, where there was a coin show and a stamp show at the same time. And I think that there was some things that worked out pretty well because of that. So those are just things. And obviously we don't really need to discuss it in great detail. We can do it at any time, obviously. So just throwing some things out there. We don't need any specifics or anything. Some of the other things that are a little bit closer, though, just to mention about the summer seminar. Some of those classes are filling up, and if people are interested, they still have some openings. The forensic philately, I think, was the only one that was full so far. I think it's a smaller class because they use the fancy machines and everything, but there is still some room there. And also, Scott was on last night, and they were talking about a lot of different things, but volunteer work week is another thing coming up. If people are interested and want to participate, I'll throw that out there. One thing that we need to do, and I was thinking maybe, I don't know, Rick, if you could help me with this, but Wendy Masorti has a thing for the PaPHS ambassadors, and they actually have a group on Facebook and everything, and they actually put a checklist out. It's blue because it's a hyperlink, it was really long, to a checklist to make sure that we're doing things, in their book, right, that they need to be for us to be PaPHS ambassadors for our society. So that's something that maybe I can go into a little more detail with, down the road, just to make sure we're doing things right.
Yeah, well, yeah, send me that link and then I'll
Okay,
take
that's
a look
good.
at it. I know that and I'm not sure if it's annually or not, but it used to be annually, but I think things have been upset. We had to fill out some forms regarding our
Yes.
affiliation
Mhm.
as an affiliate.
Right, that's one of the things on the checklist, I think, and I know Norm used to do it, so. That's something.
Yeah, but so we just got to follow up on it.
Okay, cool. And one thing Ken Martin just put out on the website today, I saw that they need expertisers. So I definitely want to put that out to you guys, especially, but to the whole membership also. That just came out today to all areas. So that's interesting. And the other thing is GAS is going to be in Sacramento. I am going. I don't know who else is going to be there. I would assume that Martin's going to be there. Right? He's got work to do. Anybody else planning on Sacramento? They do have the hotel available for reservations on that. I haven't made flight reservations yet, but that's August 25th to the 28th. And one reason I was looking at GAS was because of the literature awards. And we did that stuff last year. So I'm hoping that I can coordinate with Martin and we can see what we can do. Also with the awards, with Gus, and it's due May 1st. So obviously we still have some time, but we want to get our awards to, nomination stuff together for GAS. And also ATA has their one-page exhibit. That's due a little quicker. That's April 15th. If anyone is interested in that, I will also send out a link with this page of stuff that we have here. And one that I definitely owe great thanks to Bill Schultz for is introducing me to the women exhibitors. I think they're an awesome group of people and put out a great publication. They are having their WE Fest in 2022. And Lisa Foster was really awesome. It's a live thing that they're doing, seminar. They're going to have several great speakers there. It's easy to find, but I will put a link there. And I asked about if they were going to have a virtual component, where they possibly do a Zoom while they're doing it, and then possibly if they're going to record it. So far they've agreed to do a Zoom, which was pretty good. She said, "Hey, thank you. That was a good idea. We're going to do that." So they're going to broadcast it. However, I don't know if they're going to record it. And I'm trying to talk them into doing that because I think there's a lot of benefits to that. And I think it's like $75 for the seminar, maybe. They're charging $25 to do it by Zoom. and hopefully maybe to look back at recordings, because there's always going to be a lot of people that I know they like to have live shows. Everybody does. But I think the future has changed for us in this hobby, and you need to make things available. And if you can get $25 from people that, you know, aren't going to come anyway, I think that's a good thing, positive thing for the organization. So I'm talking to them about it a little bit, but they have some really great speakers, definitely worth looking at there. I did get an email from Tom Mazza, and you can kind of read along as I'm doing this, but he found a typed script of Bob McCain's database of manuscript markings on stamp covers and envelopes from 2009. And I think what he's proposing is to have someone possibly keep that up. So I was thinking of one person that's been in touch with me several times about some of Tom's stuff is Larry Pettinger. And I thought that I would, I did send him an email, but I didn't hear back from him about it. But if he or someone else may be interested in keeping up with this project, maybe that would be good for the society.
That's a long time ago, but I believe we published Bob McCain's database in the Historian.
Okay. Is that something we could maybe make like a monograph of, or something like that? You know, some of these.
No, he was searching for, at that time he was searching for input, and I don't know how much he got, but
well, if anybody's
but anyways,
interested,
I think I would go back and look in the Historian in 2009 or so and see if we did publish
okay,
that listing, because then maybe we have something that we could OCR and get into something that could be updated.
okay. Well, I'm gonna, you know, everybody has a lot on their plate. I'm gonna ask Larry because he's been very helpful and interested in doing some stuff. So I'm gonna start there and see if we'll help with that. And if not, if anybody else is interested, like I said, I'll put this in, you know, when I send this out, and see if anyone else expresses interest.
Well, for many years, I mean, Tom was always updating the that list in the Historian. Almost every issue had a.
No, Steve. This was Bob McCain's database, and his was manuscript markings on stamped covers. And principally, it was around the Civil War time.
Oh, okay. So it was
when there was a whole bunch of changes into what was allowed to be used and done, and some things like that. So it's a totally different database than the manuscript markings on stampless Pennsylvania stuff. Yeah, they were two separate, and Bob's never took off that, you know, that way. But
well, and one thing I would always be interested, since we have the funds to do it, if we ever could publish anything. I think it's been a long time, probably since Pennsylvania has published anything on Pennsylvania. If there's anything worth publishing, and it could probably be digital. Probably doesn't have to be books that we have to worry about. You know, big expense, all that, but just something to keep in mind. So, and then Charlie, if you want to talk about Jasper Schoenmakers, he contacted me, sent me an email there, and if you want to explain it, I'll just scroll to the images.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Jasper's a friend of mine. I've been mentoring him in the 3 cent 1851 to 60 issue, and you know, he's working on plating and colors and all sorts of uses, postal history, cancels, and all that good stuff. And recently, you know, he had acquired a nice Likens PA, really fancy with lozenges. You can see an example there. And then he contacted me. He knew that I had probably maybe 7 to 10 known. I have 3. I was more than happy to get one to him. It's a really nice cancel used for a very short amount of time. Likens, you know, is, you know, only in 1858, I think it was 1858, did they really open their post office. And this was their first sort of hand stamp, that cancel. And they went with a really nice, bold, fancy, small typed month, manuscript day, and just a really nice. So he wanted to, you know, as we got into that, and he's already accumulated a few more, And I said, you can reach out to the Pennsylvania Postal History Society, and it's his first foray into doing some sort of research. He's attracted to this canceling some postal history from PA. I said, I think I know a group. That's this group. I think I know a publication. That's the historian. I'll work with you. We can start to try to do his census. He's gone out there and I think he's already acquired 4. He's going to do a little bit more than just this. He's going to kind of track the cancellations of lichens and do a background and history of lichens. And he's already contacted that historical society. So he thought he would reach out to you, Steve, because I asked him and I said, do that. We can put it out to this society to look and see if anybody, one might have a couple of copies of these in their collection to share images for his census. And that's sort of how it got started. So he's, an early collector in this space. He's in the Netherlands. He's been collecting for a number of years, but he really got interested in this part of the world and this postal history. So probably really somebody good that we can continue to mentor. And if he wants to write it up and we want to help him, we want to publish it, I think that would be great. So that's a little high level synopsis, Steve. And there you go. That's the story. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I will put that out and hopefully we get some other response from that.
Yeah. He's a good guy. I mean, and he's a good fit. I mean, he's wants to keep learning and growing and doing all sorts of stuff. And, and in that part of the world, he's interested in this postal history of our part of the world. I think it's good that we've got someone in I lived over there for about 3.5 years, kind of right where he's at. So,
Nice.
So he's a good guy. We'll get him going. He just took in a Ukrainian refugee. He just took in a mother and kids from Ukraine only 2 days ago. So he's a little busy, but I'm glad he got a hold of you. And he's diving into this stuff. So thank you for that.
Awesome.
For a novice, where is Lichens, Pennsylvania? It seems.
Washington County? Yeah, Washington County, if I recall. Yeah.
I think so.
You're making me go to my K and Smith again, because I know he made me look. He made
I'm
me
ahead
look
of
it
you,
up,
Chuck.
and I got a bookmark on the page because I had to look it up again. And I think that's where, yeah, maybe not Washington, but I'm looking. So the news is it only got started
In Dauphin County.
There it is,
Yes.
Dauphin. That's it,
Right.
Dauphin. And
Dauphin.
it only was 1858, I think they officially opened up as their post office.
57 to present.
There it is. There it is. So 57. So 1 year off. So
Yeah.
the 3-cent 1850, the perforated 3-cent is that cover he has, and a few others are very early when they opened up and they started using that hand stamp. So yeah.
Not too far north of Lancaster.
And that's just up the road from me. So he knew that too. So this, I'm just saying it's up the block. So yeah, so I think this may open the door for him into a couple of other areas too, which is good. So
That's good. We put out the bait and we catch people once in a while and they're moving for the stamps. That's good.
yeah, that's actually a really nice cancel.
It is very nice.
It really is a nice fancy. It's in Simpson. It gets its own little listing. It's it's got a rarity factor of about 7, which means 7 to 10 are known. I think there's probably 12 or 13, but he wants to do the census and look and see what's out there, and really hasn't been done before. So it kind of follows the census I did, a year or so ago, Steve, in the American Philatelist, when I did the Lancaster Watch Company and their pre-cancel and advertising covers. So he kind of has that as a template, and he's, kind of has Martin, I gave him one of my articles, so he gets a feel for what you do with the historian. So at least if he's starting to think about what it should look like, he kind of has a feeling. So just to help him out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool.
there's actually a listing of that in the stampless cover catalog
Yes. Yes.
for that marking. So,
Yep.
but it says 53 and that can't be right.
No,
The post office wasn't open, but
yeah, that's not right.
The date-
Well,
the date-
we're
the date is
working on,
insignificant.
Rick, the Classic Society is working on updating that ASCC. We've been working on
yeah,
that for 10
yeah.
years. You know,
They've been doing that. They've been doing that for 10 years.
When
now.
I was on the board in an officer there, they were working on that. That's maybe 15, 20 years ago. So at some point, someone's going to get that done, but God bless us, they're working on it.
God bless whoever gets it done. I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's good luck there. So yeah,
But
And there-
so that if there's yeah, so and all of yours, of course, would have stamps, Charlie, right?
absolutely. All of them that we've already in the census, and I did a little digging, and like I said, I've had 3. I think now I have only 1 or 2 left. One in one little sub exhibit. He's got 3, and they all have the perforated 3-cent
Great
from 1850. Now, I think we're looking for how long did this go before they went to, and I know the next cancel they used, they went away from a fancy and kind of went to, during the Civil War, a little bit more traditional CDS.
Yeah.
But this was their first foray. When they opened up the post office, that postmaster said, I'm making something fancy. And at least it was in use for a couple of years. So
Yeah, and the stampless marking may be a postmaster free frank or
yes,
something of
right.
that
That's
nature.
right.
So,
But he's doing the research. He's
that's neat.
contacted the right folks, and he's, I want to keep encouraging him, and I think we'll get a nice article out of it in the Historian. So
I agree.
yeah.
Well, it's interesting how all the letters are kind of solid, except for the A on the PA there, how it has it's not solid, the legs down out of the A.
Well, I think that's just the way it took up the ink. So it's interesting that it's a Roman style font. It's got Roman. You got a little italicized type font, tiny AUG August. They didn't put in a date slug, so you wrote it in manuscript. And all of them have manuscripts if you look at the other 5 or 6. And then the lozenges on either side there, which is just, the guy clearly had a good old time cutting it. And there's a period or a comma, depends, after lichens, and a superscript A with a double dot underneath. So, when you're talking about fancies, it's a little bit different than some of the traditional fancies.
Cool.
So,
Okay.
listen, this, I'm diving in, man. I love this stuff. I love the 3 cent, I like postal history, and I like the cancel. So it's a
Awesome.
trifecta.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of other collectors too, I met, for you guys that are Philadelphia fans, he was the flyer statistician for a lot of years. Scoop Cooper is his name. I don't know if you've heard of him or whatever. He was actually in the Inquirer several years ago, and I saw an article. There was a chair that he had that was part of a set from, I think, 1750. Long story, it went to auction, sold for $350,000, and he's a great collector of Philadelphia history in particular, and he just happened to mention he enjoys Pennsylvania postal history, and he started sending me some stuff. So hopefully we'll have another member there too, and he's very knowledgeable about Philadelphia, but he's chomping at the bit. So he asked how to join, so hopefully we'll hear something from him too. So that would be neat. Now it's just committee stuff. Awards. The only thing I had was, I think, maybe about like the literature awards that we were talking about. And we'll get with Gus on that, and we have until May, but I think by email we can handle that kind of stuff, at least to start with. Dick is in France, so he left, I think yesterday it was.
It was yesterday. He stopped by my house and dropped off some goodies for Lenko Pets. So
okay,
God
so
bless him.
he will be back in June. Just an update, and this is kind of for Martin more than anything. Dick sent me a few blank checks, and both of our names are on the account, so I can pay Martin and I can pay Wilcox. And if there's other expenses that come up, I think maybe he sent me like 3 or 4 checks. I also have the sign in for our PayPal account. I haven't looked there to see how much is there, but if we have any bills that come up or something, we had an issue last time and we didn't want to do that again. However, he's not going to be able to check his mail, of course, if people send things in. So we'll be a little bit behind on that, but hopefully things will go smoothly. I don't really have anything communications wise, except for all the other stuff I have just communicated there. Bill, did you have anything to add education wise? I talked about like the seminars and some of those things. If you have anything else to add though. Oh, you have to unmute. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
All right, my fault. Yeah, I'd like to make a comment about 2 things that you've talked about. One is, I think we should possibly meet at NAPEX. It's not a bad idea. And the second idea that I support wholeheartedly is agreeing as a society to support Boston 2026. Makes a lot of sense to me. So I just want to put in my 2 cents. So I'm going to imitate Charles DeComo. I just wanted to put in my 2 cents. I'm quoting you, Charlie.
I thought he was a 3 cent guy.
He's a 3
Not a 2 cent guy.
Listen,
They got change.
I have a 3 cent stamp that was cut in 2/3. That's a 2 cent.
That's a bisect. Yeah, they're nice.
Bisect.
Yeah, they're nice. So anyway, I recommend that we consider $100 a year for the next 3 or 4 years for Boston. I personally have contributed money to them already. They're very appreciative. if you contribute up to $1,000, you get a free pass and you get free beverages and coffee, and you get the dine in their private dining area. So, and that can be nice. And so we can think about that. Maybe as a society, we consider that as well. I'm not recommending that, but I am recommending that we strongly consider sending at least, say, 100 hours a year for the next 3 years. We want to be a player in the game, and we should be. And I think that's a healthy thing for us to do. So that's it. Thank you.
Do you think we should act on that now and send something,
No,
or should we wait?
I think we could vote on it and talk about it, but it seems to me as a society, we want to be part of these organizations, and Boston 2026 is important.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah,
know,
there's some long ball hitters on that phone call last night. There's going to be everybody's involved.
yeah, it's serious stuff. You also didn't list here the show in Toronto, the single
Yeah,
frame.
KPEX. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to mention that a lot of us are going. A lot
Okay.
have signed up for that. I've been contributing to that as well. But I can also tell you that it's an amazing thing. They ended up with like 417 single frames. And some people said they weren't going to come close to 400, and they flew past 400.
Great.
So it's going to be a crazy show. I don't even know. I can't even imagine what it's going to look like. 400 single frames. It's kind of mind boggling. But one of the reasons I'm going, first of all, I love Canada. But second of all, I can't believe what 400 single frames are going to look like. I mean, how do you?
Aren't you glad you're not judging?
Oh, well, they have 13 judges, I think, and I don't think that's enough.
I don't think so.
No, but they're going to earn their money, that's for sure. But it's an exciting event. They decided to do something totally different than anybody else, and a lot of people thought they were crazy. But Dave McLaughlin's the chair, and he's very supportive, by the way, of U.S. shows. He comes to most of them. So if you guys haven't met Dave, you should make a point of trying to meet him. He's a charming guy. He's very Canadian, by the way. He sounds Canadian, looks Canadian, and behaves like a Canadian. But he decided to put this show together, and they're pulling it off. I think they have 75 dealers, I think, which is pretty amazing for Toronto.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Dan said he was going to be here, but maybe he had some difficulty. Probably my fault. Membership wise, we talked about a couple potential new members. Rick, anything publications wise?
No, I don't have anything that has come up since our last meeting.
Okay.
Unless Martin knows something I don't know.
Well, we'll get to him in just a second. Society development. I think Bill and I have kind of covered that in the comments we've made so far. So
Yeah.
that's pretty good. So let's get to Martin, and you can talk about anything you'd like.
Okay. The historian backlog is very healthy, and what I'm trying to do based on really the one comment that I've heard is make sure that future editions are as evenly spread across the state as possible, so that we don't concentrate on just the major metros. So that is something I'm doing and recruiting for in terms of materials. I want to thank Bill for sending me materials on a regular basis. Bill and Gus both send them so fast that I can't always get them replied to as quickly as I like. But I do sit down, as Bill has probably seen, and go through them. And then he'll get 3 or 4 or 6 replies saying that I got his materials and that it has been put into the queue. So I appreciate that. Obviously, some of your stuff, Bill, can be consolidated into the longer pieces like I did last time.
Yeah.
But please, if you haven't written for the historian in a while, I would certainly appreciate that. And Charles, glad to hear that you're coaching another author along. I really appreciate that. And we'll continue to push it out. Interestingly enough, outside of knowing my involvement with the historian, I've had a couple of inquiries about Pennsylvania, and I'm trying to coach them toward one, membership, and ultimately some authorship for us. So that is going on. I will call tomorrow and check with Wilcox. I think that our account with them is current. The reason I mention that is because my invoice for the last edition is still open. Dick had sent one check, and I think about a month later, they finally sent it back to him. He went to the post office. They did not care. And he sent it again. It still has not arrived. So we're approaching a little over 2 months to try to get a check from him to South Carolina. So that is open, Steve, just for your information. And but I will check with Wilcox and make sure they got theirs.
Okay, yeah, just let me know, because I do have the checks. I'll get them out right away. I'll send them overnight, whatever. We don't want to alienate them at all.
Well, they're very good about communications. If they had not gotten it, I would have heard something by now. And just because of the initial transition, they send both Dick and I a copy of the invoice. They didn't mind doing that. And that way we can both keep up with it, especially if he's traveling. And again, they are excellent to work with. And frequently call and say, hey, look, here's a suggestion. We think we can do this and get it out quicker or save you some money or whatever. So everything there has been good. And we have had a couple of mailing list issues. I think in terms of the information, all of that is current and accurate. I think the bottom line is that our problems are related to the Postal Service, and dealing with several publications, I'm convinced that it is getting measurably worse by the day. I'm seeing a lot of mail that never gets where it's going. And I have been told at the Greer counter that they don't care because they've been told they don't have to care. So a little bit difficult when so much of my work is dependent on the mails, and the mail service just is non-existent.
It's crap.
Yeah.
I'll just come out and say,
Wow.
yeah, I've seen an increase in damage for the Classic Society of our Chronicle and the Chatter the past 3 issues. It's really absolutely related to the Postal Service. So,
Right.
it
They
definitely.
got my chatter right next to Redmond.
Oh, well, thank you. I have a question,
One of the-
Martin, for you. Are we using Wilcox's permit, or we don't use Wilcox's permit to do our mailing of the historian?
We are so small right now, we are going first class.
Okay, great.
And even so, the combined bill over what we were doing is
Yeah.
a savings.
Yeah, okay.
And I've talked to them a little bit. They don't do co-mailing, so they can't combine us with somebody else and get us in the permit limits.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So, we're just waiting on Bill and Steve to grow us enough that we got
Yep.
permit numbers.
No, I hear you. No, I hear you. We did permit for a bit at one society, and then we just backed it out. It was more, could just put a stamp on it and send it first class, and here we go. Right.
Yeah, we've been going out first class, and obviously the historian goes out in an envelope. I just recently put another publication in an envelope, and with the first one, it went out from Wilcox in the nice envelope. I got 43 members contact me and say, this is the first time I have received the journal without any damage. So that was a pretty good response rate on, I think it cost about $167 in that situation, not for Pennsylvania, but it was worth it.
Thanks for that. I just wanted to see where you were at, because I'm using them for 5 or 6 different pubs, and that's why we stay with Wilcox. They're just amazingly flexible, and
they're incredible, and
great.
They continue to monitor the supply chain issue.
Yep.
They let me know pretty much issue to issue. We are always fine for the current issue, and they will say, hey, we just secured the paper for the issue after this.
Exactly.
I've never seen a printer as proactive on customer service and supply as these guys are. And I worked for Heidelberg for a long time, and we knew every printer in the world.
Well, they've really carved a niche out of our space. right? And
Yes.
so they know that, and they want to go over and above and beyond and serve, and that's how they continue. And then they've spiraled out from there. So we
Yep.
couldn't do what we do with the Chronicle Chatter, the Empire State. I mean, I can go down a list of what they do for others, right? So that's good to hear, Martin. Thanks. I just kind of make sure they're taking care of us as well. So
Yeah, absolutely.
good deal. Thank you.
Okay, and speaking of mailing issues, I did get in touch with Bud Newman, if you guys know him. He sold his farm, he said, and I guess he was still getting stuff forwarded to him, but he didn't know that he hadn't paid his dues because the mail hadn't caught up. But he was down in Florida, same type of thing, for a couple of months, and he is moving back to Philadelphia, Rittenhouse Square, and he gave me a new address, and I updated that in our mailing in our membership list. So, and he's definitely interested in, he said he can't keep track of mail, but somehow he still finds stampless postal history. So he's one of our oldest longest time members for sure. He's his charter member. He's like number 3, I guess, of the members we've left, but he's definitely interested in staying in the society and participating. So I hope we hear
Good.
more from him. Okay, Rick, you have anything secretary wise?
Secretary wise, no, I did trek down to Bucks County and had a lunch with Norm and Jan, and got the records from Norm, which took up the back of my car, and I've got that here. So we've transferred all that. I've gone through a lot of it. I talked to Steve about it. Some of it I think we need to purge. But there are some things there, and some things for us to think about and consider. I did get a box with Pennsylvania Postal History gold and silver medals, which we used to give out, the Von Hake and the Harry Yeager Awards, and some of that stuff. So we have to, as the shows revive, and those were designed to encourage the people to put Pennsylvania postal history on exhibit in local shows. And so as those smaller local shows come back, we ought to talk about reviving that effort and seeing what we want to do. Other than that, not a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Can I ask Rick a question as secretary, having done that for the Classic Society for what seems like a decade? Are we utilize? I mean, maybe. Are we utilize? You've got an Excel, a database. I mean, it's clearly not paper. It's not. I mean, what's the society database in?
We
and
have
maintained and backed up and all that good stuff.
The society's membership list and everything is Steve has a published listing, and it runs with all the information on that, and that's trying to establish as the be all and end all. We really don't have a horrendous amount of material from over the years. It's mostly related to membership requests. I do now have all of the original applications. So if you ever want to see your application, I found mine from 35 years ago. But we have that. That's not been backed up and done anything with. The thing that I think is the most critical for us, and I wanted to talk with Steve a little bit further about it, is that our incorporation records and our seal are there, and they've been safe in John Kay's house and Norm Shackett's house, and I guess they'll be okay in my house until we make a decision. But nothing that we have is irreplaceable, Charlie.
No, it's great. Thanks.
And there's some stuff on discipline and things like that from a long time ago, but who cares if that disappears? So
understood. Thank you, Rick.
it's all happened in the past.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
All right, good.
we
Thank
do
you.
have a Google Drive. That's where, so at one point, Norm and Dick and myself, and then probably Martin, when he first came on, all had different database. And I'm like, well, we can't do that. Let's just keep one. So everybody that needs to have, and if anybody needs something, just let me know. But we have access to it all on Drive, and everybody's an admin where they can change something if they need to.
Yeah.
So we do have it backed up.
But 99 44 100% of it relates
Yeah.
to membership, you know.
Right.
Most of it is should be recycled. Let's leave it at that.
Thank you.
Well, I think everybody's had a chance for input. Maybe Anita, do you have anything else to add for us?
No.
Okay.
I support Rick's idea though of disposing of old things.
I do have
Well, I draw the line. I might be the old thing that they want to dispose of. So-
You gotta be specific, Anita. What?
Yeah, don't-
Yeah, you gotta be specific.
Don't say that in front of my kids, please.
Well, I do have a legal size scanner, and I also have a book scanner. If we do have anything that we need to make a digital copy of, I can do that, where I can send you my scanner to use it. 'Cause I don't know, Martin, did you try that one out at that Caesar scanner?
I tried a little bit. I haven't gotten back to it,
That's
but
good.
I've got 3 books on my desk waiting to be digitized. They're legacy out of print, and we've got demand for them. And I will tell you, it is amazing, if you price it right, how many copies of a digital book you can sell, within our hobby. We've got I think it's a 13-year-old book that hasn't been printed in that long, and we put it online for ATA, and the download rate is astonishing, especially worldwide. So if we've got some things in there, Rick, before throwing them out, we may want to think about digitizing and offering some avenue either to access them or even sell them for nominal fees.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's none of that stuff that's in there. It's more
Okay.
like
Just records.
it's all,
Okay.
it's it's interesting.
I bet.
It made me think of some guys that I knew when I first joined the society, and I hadn't thought of in a long while. So it was good in that respect. I hadn't thought of Blair Gibb or Frank Ogle in a long while. Steve Washburn.
Well, I'm sure it's an eclectic collection like some of ours. So,
Blair Gibbs, the king of county cancels.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I once bought some stampless stuff from him, and then the dealer was complaining that he didn't have some low price stuff to sell out, and I had duplicates, and so I pulled out some duplicates from my collection and sold them to him to help him out, and he almost sold back to Blair stuff that Blair had sold to me. Almost.
It's an art.
I stopped him right before he wrote the check.
Okay. And I would like to throw a public thank you out there to Rick for helping me getting a little involved in transatlantic stuff. And it is a little bit overwhelming when you think you know something and it's like, oh, wait, but there's this other door that you didn't know about. You have to open that one too. Oh my.
But you taught me something. So I really had never realized that there was a digital update on the Classic Society for Hubbard and Winter's book.
Yeah, it's got the little highlights, and you can
hover
over them.
You can find the highlights and everything like that. And sure enough, the one cover that started this whole thing was one of those that was on a sailing that was highlighted.
Wow.
So
I'm still learning.
I think you know what you're doing. Something proves you wrong.
Well, even today, I've been scanning covers and archiving stuff kind of the way you have, like in the file folders and stuff. And I swear it said 1857, and I'm looking for this cancel, and I'm like, this can't be right. And it was, of course, 1837. So there's always some twist and turn in this stuff. Anyway,
we saw that guy that thought 18 and a half cents was a dollar.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Right.
It was not a dollar. I had I dropped in a copy of my article in the Historian.
Yes, you did.
So he could see what routes and rates and sheets and weights are, and this is what it is, and it can't be a dollar. It's
It can't be a
18 and a half.
But you know what? When I went back and I looked at that and I looked at it from his perspective, then I could see the dollar sign.
Yes, sure.
But
Yeah,
immediately when I
placed
looked at it, it said it's 18 and a half cents. What is
Right, of
what?
course.
You know?
He's making us all question what we know it is. It can't be a dollar, but that's okay. That's okay.
Hey,
One,
we should have sent him Bill's article on the 6 1/4 cent
That's
rate,
exactly right.
because
Send
that would have fit too to it.
Yep.
I'm speaking on that in Toronto. The Canadians have asked me to speak on the 6 1/4. I didn't.
You're going to talk about something that's picayune.
Yeah, but they think there's a connection with the Ontario currency and 6 1/4. They have some interesting thoughts.
Well, so it's really not a 6 1/4 rate because you're in Canada. What is it? What's the exchange? It'll be a 7 1/5 talk. I mean, how does that work?
Well, yeah, but it actually marries up, believe it or not, on the
Really?
Ontario sterling of 1830s or whatever.
There you go.
So the original derivation of that is piece of 8.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and
And
it's fascinating on that, but the phrase 2 bits and the
yeah,
word picayune are still in our vocabulary.
it is.
They're related to that breaking of the piece of 8 down.
That's right. And it's still there. I mean, it's still, it's in our lexicon for sure.
Well,
But,
I think
I also want to mention, changing subjects, I want to mention that I'm judging Delpex in early April down in Wilmington. Those of you who feel like driving down to the wonderful one-day show in Delaware, they've brought me out of retirement to judge again. So I can't get away from it. So.
It's like The Godfather, Bill. They pulled you right back in, my friend. Right back. I know how that works. I'll see you down there. I will be there that one day. So
It's a nice one-day show.
it is a good one-day show.
It is.
awesome. Okay. All right. So if anybody has anything else? Good. Okay. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for your help and participation.
Good to see you all.
Thanks.
Great night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.